Hi everyone, Nicholas Buffett is here from sunny Cyprus and welcome to today's tutorial. I believe it's a fantastic tutorial, and if you're an educator or you've used mail merge at any point in time, either in your workplace or for personal reasons, you will find this tutorial interesting. Now, it's all about mail merge, but not the traditional type of mail merge. Usually when we mail merge a document, we have, as we can see over here, a data source, which is an Excel file. Down here, it's called student names. We have a document, I've called it mark sheet. And then if we've got, let's say, 20 records in our data source, and our document is 2 pages, we end up with a very large and long document, which is 40 pages long. And the whole point of mail merge is to personalize these documents. We make a personal document for each person inside that data source. That makes it really, really hard when we want to break down and create the individual documents for each person in our database. So if we want to save a document for each person, we then need to break down that very long document into very small pieces, save the document, give it a proper name, let's say the person's name, and repeat this again and again and again. It becomes very tedious and we just basically don't bother mail merging the document. So today's tutorial is basically to solve that problem. So we're going to use this Excel sheet that I've got over here and a mark sheet over here, which is a Word document. But I'm not only going to mail merge a Word document, I'm going to show you that we can mail merge an actual PDF into separate personalized PDFs as well. So if you are an educator, you use past papers or past exam papers to give to your students so they familiarize themselves with exam questions, we end up using those mark sheets, and those mark sheets are PDFs. So if we want to personalize these mark sheets, one for each student, this solution would generate those PDFs, those mark sheets for you automatically. So essentially what happens when I'm going to mail merge, instead of producing one very long document, it's going to, let's say I've got 20 names inside the student names over there in the Excel file, it's going to produce for me 20 documents, and each document will have a customized file name, the name of the student, for example, and maybe a description. I've called this like the student name and the word mark sheet. And it's also in another folder, it's going to generate the PDFs, the same copy, the same version in a PDF as well. Now, do we need the PDF? Maybe yes, maybe no. That's entirely up to you. Now, I'm going to start off by demonstrating this process first. Then I'm going to show you how you can implement it as well. And finally, in this video, for those of you that are a little bit more tech savvy, have a little bit of programming skills, and you want to see how the program works, I will break down the program for you so you can tweak it and do what you want with it. So let's start straight away with the demonstration of merging a Word document and merging a PDF document. Okay, so what we have here basically is a Word document which I've opened. This Word document is already linked as a mail merge process. We're going to teach you mail merge. I've got another video tutorial on that, which I can link in the description below. And essentially what it's going to do, if we have a look at this is my data source. So I've only got one field that I'm going to be merging. It's this one here. It's going to be the full name. These fields here, don't worry about these for now. We're going to use these later on. You'll understand what these are for and why we're using them. But essentially, you can see the file name. This is going to be the name that's going to be used to save each document with. So for the mail merge process, I'm only bringing in one field. Now, you can have more fields. You can have, for example, the date of birth, contact numbers, email addresses, parent information, or whatever fields you want to have in here. But you will also need these 3 fields as well for the process. But we'll forget about that for now. So let's just close that and go back to our mail merge. So here we go. So here's my document. If I have a quick preview in my mail merge, so if I go to mailings, I can see I've got here all my recipients. And normally if I mail merge this, it will make one document, and that document will be, depending on how many records I've got, say 12 records, 2 pages, it's going to make it 24 pages long. But that's not what I want. So what I am going to do, however, is this. I'm going to go to, and I'm just going to just snap that into place. I'm going to go to my developer tab here. Don't worry about this. I'm going to show you how to do this. We're just demonstrating for now. And once you've got this set up, all you will have to do is click on this button here, macros, and click run. That's it. Let's watch it happen. So if I click on run now, we can see here on the right hand side in these folders, can you see how these PDF documents and Word documents are being produced for us automatically? And as many records as we've got in that data source, that's how many PDF documents, and that's how many Word documents it's going to generate. These are going to be exactly the same as the document, only if I just open this one up here, for example, And let's open up the Word one. There you go. Can you see it's got that student's name there? So it's merged the field, but it's also given the student name and the description which I want. So this is Amy Booker, Word marksheet.docx, and I've got the same at the top as also this one here as a PDF document. Okay, now I want to also show you how we can do this with a PDF, because it may be that you've got a mark sheet and you want to create a mark sheet for each student. So let me just reset this. I'll get back to you. Okay, so here we can see I've got a PDF document. This is a mark sheet from an actual exam paper. And what I normally do is, if I've got 20 students, I will make 20 copies of this file, and then I will rename each file one by one with the student's name. And the whole purpose of this is to have personalized mark sheets for my students. I would then open the file, ink on it, so I can mark it, save it, and then attach each student's personalized mark sheet in their Microsoft Teams assignment where they've submitted their work. But that's a very tedious job, so I normally find other ways around this, or I don't bother. But now it's actually really easy. Have a look. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Word. I'm going to go Open. I'm going to go to Browse. I'm going to go and find my file. My file is actually here in the Merge folder, and here's my PDF. And I'm just going to double click to open this. Now, you can see it's opened the PDF document. You might get a little warning message in the middle that says Word is converting the PDF, and click OK. Once it's finished converting, click OK, and you will see this. Now, from here, we can see here is my mark sheet. All I have to do now is exactly the same process, because this is a Word document. So I'm going to go and attach very quickly my style sheet. This is part of the mail merging process. So I'm going to go select recipients, use an existing list. My existing list, again, is in this same place. There it is there. Click OK. So I've attached my data source. Now, if I want to go and add a field in here or not, that's entirely up to me. I don't really need to add a field, but if I do, I can if I want to add the student's name in here as well. So let's just do that very quickly. If I go to my mailings, I'm going to add a merge field for name. There it is there. And all I have to do, just like before, I'm simply going to go to my developer tab here. I'll just bring this over here to the side, go to my developer tab, click on my macros, there we go, and just run this. And now the PDF document will be generated as a unique PDF document for every single student, and a unique Word document. We can see the Word documents here, the individual ones, and we can see at the top the PDF documents being generated. And that's really, really easy to do. And I love this feature because most of the mark sheets that I've got are PDF documents. So I can make my personalized PDF documents very easily. Okay, so now the next part of this video is to show you how you can do this as well. Okay, so let's have a look and see what it is that we need to set up this whole process. Well, the first thing that we need to do is to generate two folders where we're going to save our Word documents and PDF documents. Where you actually save them doesn't matter. I suggest that you create one folder and put your subfolders inside. I've generated a folder here in the root directory in the C drive, called it merge, and I've added my PDF docs and my Word docs folder here. Probably not a good idea to go in the root folder, but I've done that so I can keep the path short. You can save your main folder, let's say this merge folder here. You can put this anywhere in your documents on your desktop. You can even put it in a synced OneDrive folder. So if your OneDrive is actually synced and you've got a local copy of your OneDrive, you can put it in there and that will automatically sync as well. This will also work with a synced Dropbox folder or Google Drive. It really works on anything where you've got that cloud storage synced to your computer locally. Okay, or you can just put it in your local drive in your documents or your desktop. So that's the first thing. Now, what you name these is not important. You can name them what you want. The next thing that we need, now this heading here, you don't need this. I'm going to give you this because I'm going to give you this entire folder, and in here you're going to find the modules for the program. You'll understand what that is in a second, but you don't need them for the process. You only need them one time. Next, we need our documents that we're going to merge. So if we're going to merge a Word document, we have our Word document here. If we're going to merge a PDF, we can bring that in here. We don't need both, but I use this as an example. And the most important one now is the data source. Now, the data source, if I open this up now, here we can see I've got a field and a column here. It's called full name, and it's got my student names here. And then I've got these three columns. Now, these three columns are not required to personalize the document, but they are absolutely vital for the process to work. What are these columns? And I will show you how we generate them in a second. The most important thing is that these three columns must be included in your data source, and the name of these columns must be spelled exactly as you see them here. Unless you're going to stay towards the end of the tutorial, see how it works, and if you want to change these names in the program, you can. So if you spell these exactly the same, so you're going to have three fields: doc folder, PDF folder, and file name. You don't really need to do any modification to the program at all, just copy paste it. So this one here basically specifies where it's going to save the Word document. This one specifies where it's going to save the PDF document. And this column, file name, basically specifies what the file name is going to be when it's generated, whether it's the Word document or the PDF document. So we generate these. So I'm going to show you how we generate these now. So if I delete this, okay, now you can have other columns as well. For example, students' contact details, email address, telephone number, date of birth, shoe size, eye color, whatever you want, sport. You can have all these fields in there to personalize your document, but you must create these three columns as well. So what's the first one? The doc folder. This is where we're going to save our Word documents. So if I just bring that down here. So if I've generated this one here, this folder here, Word docs, I'm going to click on this in Explorer, Windows Explorer, and when I open this, at the top in the address bar here, if I click one time, it shows me the path. So I'm just going to select that, right click or Control C, copy, and then I'm going to come to my spreadsheet and I'm going to paste that path there. So basically this is the path it's going to follow to go and save the Word documents, and I'm simply going to copy that down for the rest of my records. The PDF folder, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So from here, I'm going to go to my PDF docs. I'm going to open it, click inside the Windows Explorer address bar at the top here. There it is. I'm going to select all of this, right click, copy, go to my Excel document, my data source, right click, paste, and there is the path for the PDF documents. So this is why I said it's not important where you generate these, because you're going to put the path to these folders inside your data source. I'm just going to copy that down. Now, what do you want? You call each file name. So one thing probably will be to have the student's name. So to do that in Excel, I'm just going to click on equals. I'm going to click here. So for this record, it's going to take the student's name. I'm then going to concatenate that with an ampersand, and I'm going to put speech marks. So this is going to link whatever I put in here. I'm going to press space, and I'm going to put, say, word mark sheet, and close the speech marks. Okay, so basically when I press enter, what it's going to do is going to take whatever's inside A2, this cell here, the active cell here, and it's going to link. That's what the ampersand does. It says whatever's in here, link it with whatever text I've written here. So the text I've written, I have to put in speech marks, it's space word mark sheet. So as soon as I press enter, there we go, and I can simply select this and copy that down. So now I've generated the document folder, where I'm going to save my documents, where I'm going to save my PDFs, and what the name of each file is going to be. The only thing that I'm going to be importing for my mail merge is just the first name or the full name here. But as I said, you can have more items. I'm going to save this, and that is my data source finished. Okay. All right. So I now have my two folders where I'm going to save everything. I've also got my data source. Let's now go to Microsoft Word and see what you need to do to set up this process. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to open Microsoft Word. I'm going to open up this document. Now you can see at the top here, I've got this developer tab. You need this because that's what you're going to use to generate the VB code or the macros. If you don't have this, just right click on any one of these ribbon headings up here. Say I right click on mailings, and from here you can go to customize the ribbon. Now on the right hand side over here where we are in customize ribbon, if we go to the right hand side, if you don't have the developer tag, that means it's not ticked here. So if I just click OK now, you can see my developer tab has vanished. If I want to re-enable it, right click at the top on one of these ribbons, customize the ribbon, go to the right hand side, and here I'm going to select my developer tab and click OK. And here's the developer. So the next thing that we need to do now is essentially to create the module or the macro which is going to be doing the whole process that we've learned. So if I click on developer, I first want to create the Visual Basic code. I'm going to click on this and we should get this window. Now we're going to see on the left hand side at the top this project window here. If you don't see this project window, so let's say I close that and you want to open it, simply go to view and you should have here Project Explorer, and here it is. So the next thing that we notice is we've got two projects. We've got Project Marksheet and we've got the normal project. Project Marksheet basically means, if you see here, the name of this file at the top is Marksheet docx. So essentially what it's saying is if I create my macro, my module in this area, it will only work for this document. Okay, and you would have to do this every time for each document. However, if we actually create the macro in this area, the normal, this is basically the default settings of every document that you open. So if we generate it in here, we will be able to run the macro that we're going to generate from any document. So anytime we want to do a mail merge, we can run this macro without having to go through this process again. So we're going to do that. Now, the first step is I'm going to show you the longer way, let's say, and then I'm going to show you the easier way to do this. So the one way to do this is if I right click anywhere, if I right click on here where it says normal or right click on the modules, let's say right click on normal, I'm going to go to insert module, and that's going to create this module 1. And in this window here, we want to copy paste the code. So I've got the code for you in this folder here, VB modules. So this is what I'm saying. You don't need this folder to save it in the with everything else, but you can if you want to keep everything tight, but it's not part of the process. You only need it once. So I've got for you here the text version and the BAS version. The text version, basically, if I double click on this, I can simply press Control A, Control C, so or right click copy, go over here, right click paste, that's it, you've finished. This is the code. The green text over here are basically comments explaining what the code does. We're going to look at this at the end of the video. And that's it, you've basically finished. And that was the tricky part. If you want to do this the easier way, you're going to do this. So I'm just going to close this. I'm going to remove this module. Okay, so remove module 1. No, I don't want to back it up. And the other way of doing this is simply right click on the normal part here and go to import file. Now, if you go to the folder where I've put everything for you, there we go, in the merge, VB modules, I've got the BAS file for you. So if I just click on open, select it and then open, that's it. It's added it for you. So if I double click on it, there it is. So you don't need to copy paste. So either way works well. That's it. You are finished. That's all you need to do. So I'm just going to click on save and close the Visual Basic script. If you want to see if it's worked, if you click on macros in the developer tab here and go to macros, you will see you've now got this macro and you can run it. But I can't run it yet because I haven't linked this document to a mail merge, to a data source. So let's do that now. So I'm going to go to mailings, and this is the process you would do to do mail merge under normal circumstances. So I'm just going to go to select recipients, use an existing list. I'm going to go to where my data source is. My data source is here. Okay, that's the sheet I'm going to use. Click OK. I know it's actually worked because all these buttons are now enabled. I'm going to click at the top here, for example, and just go to insert merge field. I'm only going to put the full name. Okay, and if I have a look now and I go to preview results, I can see it's actually, there you go, that student name here is changing as I'm going to the next record. I can see here I've got 12 records. Okay, so essentially that's it. Let me show you now how you simply export. So once you've actually done the mail merge, all you have to do, so if I restore this, and let me close that. Let's bring in those two windows in again so we can actually see this working. Okay, so here are the two windows. And I'm going to now simply go to my developer tab, click on macros, and click on run. And that's it. You can see those documents and the PDFs at the top populated. That's all you have to do. And now the next time you want to do this, so let me just show you with another document very quickly. So I'm just going to delete all of these, Control A, delete. I'm going to click in here, Control A, delete those. Okay, so now that I've put my macro, or if you look in the Visual Basic Code, because we put the module in normal, look and see what happens now. So if I close that document and close that document here, do I want to save? Yeah, it doesn't. Well, let's just save it so it basically links it up. Okay. If I now go and open again my module, so let's just go over here. Let's open this in a new window. I don't need to do that again. So if I wanted now to do the same thing for this, let's say this PDF document, I can simply just go to a new Word document. Word. And if I just go to any new document, if I go to my developer tab, you can see the macro exists because we put it in that normal. So if I was to bring in another document in here, do the mail merge, link the mail merge up, link it to a data source, all I would have to do is just simply go to macros from the developer tab here and click on run. And that's it. You've got this set up permanently. Okay. Every document will have that availability. Okay, that's essentially all you have to do. The next step of this, I'm going to explain to you how that code works, what it is that it's doing. So if you do want to customize the code a little bit, you can. So I'm going to open up again this merge document, which is already linked. There you go. It's asking if I want to access that data source. I'm going to click on yes. So we can see that automatically it is actually, let's go to mailings, and we can see that it's actually got that data already linked. So what is this program doing? Well, essentially, if I wanted to do this manually, so if we see how this process is done manually, then we can understand a little bit clearer what the program's doing. So if I wanted to generate each document one by one and save it with an actual file name, a unique file name, I would have to do it like this. So I've already set up my mail merge. We can see here in the edit recipient list. So if I go to the edit recipient list, I see I've got 12 records here. This one here is the first record, Lorena Holmes, and this one down here, Dakota Riley, is the last record. So I've got 12 records, and if I want to create individual documents for each one of these students, I would have to do it like this. I will go to this section here where I'll go to finish and merge. I will go edit individual documents. I wouldn't merge all of them because if I do that, it's going to make that very long file, okay, with all the students' mark sheets all in one document. I will go to here where it says from. I will say from document, from record number 1 to record number 1 only. And then I'm going to click on OK. And what that's going to do, that's only going to merge the first record, okay, from record 1 to record 1. I'm going to click on OK. Here's that document. You can see it's merged it. It's two pages, and it's only for this student, Lorena Holmes. The next thing that I would do, I will go to File, Save As. I will browse to go find the location. So if I'm going to do the Word document, I will go to this location and I will click on Save. Let's do that. Okay. And then what I would do, because this document is still open, I will then go to File, Save As, Browse, and then I will go to my other file path, which is a PDF documents, and save this. I'm going to choose here as a PDF and click OK. Save. Then I would close this document. Okay. The next step will be to click on Finish and Merge again, edit individual documents, and this time I'm going to go from record number 2 to record number 2, click OK. This is the next document. I will then have to save this as a Word document, then save it as a PDF document, then close this. I'm not going to save this now. Then go to Finish and Merge, edit individual, go to number 3 to 3, 4 to 4, 5 to, until I get to 12 to 12. Now, 12 I know is my last record. After I finish saving this last record, I will stop. And that's what the program does. So let's go have a look and see that program. So let's just close that. So I'm going to go to my developer tab. I'm going to go to Visual Basic. And here is my code. Now, on the green side over here, these are basically comments explaining what each line does of this code. I will go over this with you. Okay, so the first line is basically declaring this subroutine. You don't really need to do much. It's just to name this routine here, and basically it ends here. So this is the process from where it starts and where it begins. So my subroutine basically is from the sub all the way down to where the end is. You don't need anything in the brackets there. Now, the next thing that we need to do, first of all, is to allocate certain areas where we're going to store information. Now, when we were doing this process, and I was doing this, for example, I was saying finish and merge, edit individual documents from 1 to 1. I know how many items there are in this data source from 1 to number 12. Okay, and I know this is my master document here. This is the one where I'm actually merging. And then once I've done this, let's say I'm merging 1 to 1 and click OK, I know this is my merge document. We can see it's merged here. I know this because I've got this information. Let me just close that without saving. I store these bits of information in my head, in my brain. So I've got the first record is number 1. I know the last record is number 12. I've got that in a little area in my memory there. I know this is the master document. This is what I can see in front of me right now is the active document. This is the master document. When I actually merge this and I just put 1 to 1, I know now that the active document is what's in front of me now. It's this one here. It's the merge document. I know that I'm going to go here and go to File, Save As. So I've got all these little bits of information stored in my brain somewhere. Now, computers or the program doesn't have this ability. It doesn't have its own storage area automatically generated. We need to generate those. So we create what we call variables. And the first one here is called master doc. So I've named this as master doc. And basically in this little memory area, I'm going to save a document. Then I've also created one, and what I'm going to save in here actually is going to be the master document. So I'm going to store this thing, the master document with the merge fields. Then I've got another variable called single merge doc, and this is also going to save a document. Again, what this is going to do is when I actually finish a merge and edit individual documents, I'm only going to merge one. This document here, this actual single merged document is going to be saved as my single merged document. So it's going to be saved in this variable here. Okay. Now, the last thing that I want is to also record how many records, what is the last record, the number of the last records. Now, I know that there are 12. I keep that in my brain. But here, if I go to edit recipient list, I need to go and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is the last record, and the last record is number 12. So I need to store this somewhere so that my program knows it's going to repeat this 12 times. If I've got 50 items in here, it will know to repeat it 50 times, 1,000 times. So let's just close that. Okay, so let's close that one as well. Don't save. Now, the next thing that we do is we set the master doc. So in this variable master doc, we put the active document. Now, the active document is this one. It's whichever document is in front of you. So with this document open in front of me, this is the active document. And it will have to be this one, because if I'm going to merge from this document, I'm in this document and I'm simply going to finish a merge up here while I'm inside this document. So this is my active document, and this is what's going to be saved in merge in master doc in this one here. So that active document is going to be the master doc. Now, from that master document, we want to go to the data source and make the active record the last one. So what that's doing is it's telling it from this document, go to this recipient list and go to the last one down here, not the first one. Initially, it will be at the first one up here. It's telling it to go to the last one. Okay. And then what it's doing, it's saying the last record number, in other words, this variable here, last record number, equals to, so we're going to store whatever record my master document is on, the active record. Now, since we've told our active record to go down to the last one, it's going to store the number of this last record. In this case, it would be 12. Okay, if we had 15 here, then it will be 50, as we've said. So basically that process identifies how many records we're going to merge, and it stores that number inside last record number. Now it then tells the master document data source to make the active record the first one. So now what it's doing, it's telling it from here, go back up to the first one, because that's where we want to start from. When we're going to start merging our documents, we can start from the first one and go down to the last one. Okay, now we then have this loop. Now this loop here, it starts from here where it says do while, and it finishes here where the loop is. And it's going to keep looping until this condition here is no longer true. So this condition says keep doing all of this as long as the last record number, so the variable, whatever's inside the variable, and currently in here we've got the number 12, is bigger than 0. And it is, because it's 12. Okay, and you're going to see how we're going to use this to actually stop the loop down here later on. Okay, so since last record number is actually equal to 12, it's going to do this first line. If it wasn't equal to 12, if it was less than 0 or equal to 0, it will jump, it will not come to this line, it will jump to here. Outside of the loop, it will jump here to end sub and finish the program. But since it's 12, it's going to do this first line. And it's saying the master document mail merge destination equals to send to new document. So from the master doc, that's basically telling it to do this. When we go to finish and merge, I want to edit individual documents. I don't want to print documents, and I don't want to send as an email. I want this feature. And that's basically what that says. It's saying use the feature send to new document. Then it says make the first record equal to, so from the master, make the first record equal to whatever the active record is. Now, and then here it then says make the last record, if we see what this one here, make that last record equal to whatever the active record is. So the first and last are going to be whatever the active record is. Well, the active record we said currently is pointing to the first one. So it's the number 1. And what that's doing is it's setting here, when I go to finish and merge, edit individual document is going set the first one to 1 and the last one to 1. So it's only going to merge that one document. And that's what that's doing. Okay, just cancel that so I can go back to my code. Then it says master doc mail merge dot execute false. Now what that does, basically does this. So we've gone here, edit individual documents, we've gone from 1 to 1, and that basically means OK. So that false property basically means you're clicking on the button here, OK. And as soon as I do that, look, it's now merged only one document. This document now is the document I can see. So it is now the active document. This is my active document because this is what's in front. Now, if I was doing this manually, I would then go to File, Save As, go to my folder, write the file name, save it. Then File, Save As, change it to PDF, go to the folder, save it. So that's what we expect to see in the program now. So that's here. Okay. So the next part is set single merge doc as the active document. So this variable here now is saving the active document. And the active document now is the merged document. This one single document that was merged. We're saving this in single merge document. So these 4 lines here, which is actually 1 line, but it's got this linker down here. And this is the process to save the Word document. And this one is the process to save the PDF. So let's have a look at this. It says single merge doc. Well, that's the merge document, this one here. Use the process save as number 2. And that is essentially file, save as, and we're saving it as a Word document. So that's basically saying we're using this one, Word document here. Okay. Now, then it says the name of the file that we're going to save it is going to be from the master doc mail merge data source, go to data fields and find doc folder. So if we look here, if I go to my data source, you can see it finds doc folder and it sees the path is C merge Word docs. Remember at the beginning when we said that this thing here, read only, we had these 3 folders. Well, this is where they come into play. This is why it has to be, you have to name these things here at the top exactly the same, because it's now looking for the field doc folder and it's going to get the path where it's going to save it from this one here for this record. Okay, so if we go back to our program, we can see here that it's going to get it from doc folder. If you change this name here because you just want to call it something else, then you would have to change this value here to whatever you've changed it to. So what this is doing now, it's getting that value there, linking it with a path separator. So let me show you what that is. So it's taking this path here. So I'm going to put this here. Then it's putting a path separator. This is actually the path separator, that slash. So you could concatenate a slash. Then it's saying from the master doc mail merge data source, from the data fields file name. Now this is where the other property comes in, file name. Get that value, so whatever value you've got in file name, and link that to after the path separator. There's the concatenate, so concatenate here, add the file name, which is in the file name field, and then concatenate the docx. So what that's doing now is it's put the path separator, it's going to file name, this one here. So for this record, it's going to be this one. It's going to add that file name, Lorena space Holmes Word mark sheet, and then it concatenates the docx, and it's made this path. Okay, this path here, that's where it's saving it to. And that's like doing this. That's like going to my active sheet, which is this one here, the merge one, file, save as, browse. So I'm doing my path now. So here it is. I'm going to C drive, merge, Word docs. I'm changing the name to Lorena Holmes mark sheet docx, and then clicking save. Okay, so that's what that's doing. I'm not going to save that now. And let's go back to my code. And that's it. That would save that document, file format, WD format, XML document. And that's just the formatting for the Word document. Now, my single merge document, or my merge document, is still the active one. So now that I've saved it, so let's just do that. Now that I've saved it, it's here. The next process is I go to File, Save As, and save it as a PDF. So let's go look at the code. So then it says single merge doc, export find, export fixed format. So here I'm going to choose a different format. You can see this one here. Now it's saying here output file name, just like before, using whatever's now. You're going to go to the folder PDF folder. So this time it's going to get the path, this one. So if I wanted to put my Word document and my PDF documents saved in the same folder, then all I would have to do in my code is simply change this here to, let's say, doc folder, and rename this to doc folder. And that will just basically save everything in the same folder. Okay, but I've just chosen to save it in two different folders. It's then going to link the file name. The file name again is this one here, but this path will now change to PDF, to merge PDF docs. So merge PDF docs. Okay, because that's what's inside the PDF folder. That's its value there. And then it would simply add this, but it's not going to add the docx. It's going to add, what does it say? Value concatenate dot PDF. Oops. Let's go there and change it from here. Dot PDF. Okay, and that's what that path looks like. And then it says export format, WD export format PDF. So it's going to save it as a PDF document. So that one record now, that one document that we merged from 1 to 1 has been saved as a Word document in the doc folder and as a PDF document in the PDF folder. Then it says single merge doc dot close. That basically means since this is the one that's opened, we've saved it, we close it. You wouldn't get this message because you would have saved it already. I haven't saved this, so I'm getting this message. I'm just going to click on don't save. And I am now back to this window here as my active document because it's closed the other one. So this is now my active document. Let's look at this if else if. Here it's saying if the active record that we were on, now we were on record number 1. We were doing the first one. If that number 1 is greater or equal to the last record number, now remember we saved up here, we said that the last record number was the active record when it was the last one. So last record number actually equals to the number 12. 1, which is the active record, is not bigger or equal to the number 12. So this is not going to happen, this one here. It's going to go to else because this is false. If it was, and we were on the last record, number 12, then this will be true, and it will say last record number now equals to 0. So it's going to change the value of the last record number to 0. When it goes back up to the loop, here it checks. Last record number bigger than 0. Well, it wouldn't be because 0 is not bigger than 0. So it's not going to run this again, and it stops the process. But for this time, we've only done one record. So what it does, this is not true, this statement here. So it goes to else, and it says master.mail merge data source active record now equals to the next record, which means that the active record now is going to be number 2. So we were here, let's say now go to this one. Okay, and once I do that one, it goes back to here, and it goes back to the loop because now it says end if. So we're going to the next record, end if loop. It goes back and it checks. What is the last record number? Well, the last record number is still 12. That's bigger than 0. So it's going to do all of this again for the active record. Okay, the active record is number 2. So it's going to go from 2 to 2, save it as a Word, save it as a PDF. It's going to check, is the active record equal to or bigger than last record number? No, it's not. 2 is not bigger or equal to 12. So it's going to go here, next record. Next record means it's going to go to this one, number 3. It goes to number 3, it checks, loop, is the last record number bigger than 0? Yes, it is because it's still 12. It's going to keep doing this until it gets to the last one. So when we get to the last record, let's say we were on number 11, it will come to here. It will say, go to the next record. Next record is 12. Okay, so here, 11 is not bigger or equal to last record number because it's 11 is not bigger or equal to 12. So it will tell it to go to the next record. The next record will be number 12. It will then loop. Last record is still 12, so it's bigger than 0. It will do all of this again, save that last record number 12, and now the active record is 12. Is that bigger or equal to the last record? Yes, it is. It's equal to the last record. 12 is equal to 12. So last record number now will equal 0. It will go to loop. Is last record number bigger than 0? No, it's not. It's 0. So it's not going to do this again. And it's going to jump to end sub. And that's it. It's finished. That is this whole program explained for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial. For those of you that stayed on to see how this program works, that's absolutely fine. Magic. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. I really do hope that you found some use for merging to individualized documents. If you do and you've liked this, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. And guess what? I'll see you in the next video. Now, the next video is going to be how we can take a merged document, a very large document. Let's say we've merged all 12 students in one document, how we can actually split each student's document from that main document into individualized documents very, very easily and quickly. All right, take care. See you next video. Bye-bye.